Hello and welcome back to the Just Baseball Show. It is Thursday, July 18th. You got Jack McMullen and I am Peter Apple, and we have one burning question post All-Star break for every American League team. This is part one. We're going to be doing part two tomorrow. We apologize for the little break in episodes. We took a 2-day break.
Yes.
It's our only break of the season. You'll never see another break from us again. But also with scheduling
until the
stuff.
offseason.
Until the offseason, of course. But we're used to doing 5 episodes a week. We had a little break. But we're going to get you a Thursday episode, a Friday episode, then right back to our normal schedule.
So we did a little break when we were all in person together, and you say, how does that make any sense? That kind of contradicts itself, right? Shouldn't you be able to pump all that stuff out? Well, we had a ton of awesome stuff to do at All-Star Weekend in Arlington. We went to the Futures game. We did a live draft stream, which is archived on our YouTube. It was presented by Chinook Seedery. They gave me the sick hat that I might never take off, which is just absolutely phenomenal. You have it too.
I do.
Are you going to wear it consistently?
The thing is,
it looks
for all
good.
those on
Hair
YouTube,
looks
check out
good.
the hair.
Hair
check
looks
out the
good
hair.
today. But
check out the hair.
We were doing a bunch of stuff. We had a great activation with Chinook. We made our way over to the Home Run Derby as well. So it was a lot of stuff at All-Star Weekend that was All-Star specific, and we had a great time interacting with you guys in Arlington. Our collectibles charity auction went wonderfully.
Wonderful.
So overall, it was a heck of a week. But yeah, we couldn't sit on our home desks and have the ring light on and talk about ball. But now we're kind of getting back into the swing of things. We're recording literally 45 minutes before we got to get out of the Airbnb, and then you and Aram are going to be right back at the home desk, ready to go tomorrow.
And in the morning after we've had a lot of long nights. So if we say anything wrong about your team, give us one break. Just a tiny break.
I'm not going to say anything wrong.
I definitely will. So tiny break. All I'm asking for one break, but we'll keep it moving. Again, one burning question post All-Star break. We got about 67, 66 games left, depending on your team. I was saying when we were going over potential, could Ellie De La Cruz reach 80 stolen bases? We were having that kind of debate in the Airbnb, realizing that the All-Star break isn't exactly the halfway point. Right. We're not quite 2/3, but getting close to 2/3 of the way through the season. And now we have a question for the rest of the MLB season, but it is all brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Remember, folks, download BetMGM, whether that be on iOS or Android, and use code JustBaseball when you do. Why? First bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you lose. So if you place a wager after using code JustBaseball and it loses, you'll get that amount that you put down in bonus bets up to $1,500. And if it wins, nothing happens. You won a bet. That's awesome. I wish I could win a bet. We'll talk about some of my losing bets during the All-Star weekend maybe later. But remember, gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older. Terms and conditions apply. So, all 15 American League teams, we're going to go division by division, team by team, little breakdowns on each. We have not collabed on these questions. I have a question about each team, as does Jack. We're going to go through them one by one. You want to start in the American League East?
Let's do it. I'm in. Before we do that, I do want to tell you real quick about our friends at Game Time, because as Major League Baseball really gets into its second half in earnest, and I know that the second half started, week and a half, 2 weeks ago, but as we get into the back half, the home stretch, it does feel like this is the break to get you reinvigorated for the game that starts tomorrow. I mean, it's not like you have to wait.
Yeah, the All-Star break isn't much of a break. It's basically just a tune-down time for a second.
Yeah, it's a 4-day break for non-All-Stars. It's
Yes.
a 2-day break for All-Stars.
Yes.
And, you know what? Good for them. They deserve this 2-day break. It is kind of a chance to recalibrate, and 2 days feels like a millennia for baseball players in baseball season. I will tell
you're
you
probably
that.
right. Especially the 4-day break. It just
dude.
gets them out of their funk a little bit, because baseball is so... You just got to keep in that routine.
Right. And if you want to go see these guys operate in the home stretch, I would recommend using Game Time. You can use Game Time for last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% buying for sports, concert, comedy, theater, list goes on. You get a lowest price guarantee. You get the panoramic seat views. You also get the all-in pricing toggle feature to know what you're getting into fees-wise before you actually check out. They are now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code JUSTBASEBALL, all caps, one word, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code JUSTBASEBALL, all caps, one word, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Let's go to Camden Yard. Let's go to Yankee Stadium. Sorry.
We'll go to Yankee Stadium first. And just another reminder, go to the profile section, put in code JUSTBASEBALL, and then when you get your seats, you'll see that $20 off at checkout. It's not one of those things where you put it in as you're checking out. Go to the profile section, code JUSTBASEBALL on Game Time. One burning question for every American League team. Let's get after it. We're going to start with the New York Yankees. Should we start with my question? I think it's an obvious one, or at least it is for me. Who is going to step up outside of Aaron Judge and Juan Soto? So if you look at the Yankees right now, Ben Rice is slugging .494, but he has only played in a handful of games. Do you know who has the second highest slugging percentage on the Yankees outside of Aaron Judge, Ben Rice, and Juan Soto? So technically fourth right now.
Yeah, it's low. Like, I was doing the OPS game where, Major League average OPS going into the All-Star break was 704. There were 3 hitters in the Yankee lineup that had a league average or better OPS. Mm-hmm. Aaron Judge, who's rocking in 1100.
Yeah, they are Hall of Fame level talent, and then it goes. Beep.
So Judge, Soto is at like in 1,000.
Yeah,
Rice,
we ain't worried about that.
No,
they're another level.
Rice is in the 800s.
Yep,
and then everybody else was below league average.
The next highest slugging percentage is .421 by Jahmai Jones.
So the part-time DH, Jahmai Jones?
Part-time everything.
Everything.
Next best, Alex Verdugo at .378. This lineup outside of those two is a big reason why the Yankees in their last 53 games are 27-26. It's been just average baseball. Actually, that might be completely wrong. Again, we're already off to a good start. I think it's 27-26 last 53 games. I'll have to fact check that. Regardless, we know that the Yankees are not playing very good baseball right now. That's the point. And it has a lot to do with the fact that Anthony Volpe, a lot of the power is diminished, right? There's good batting average in there. There's good bat to ball. There's good defense, but it's not a lot of impact with the bat. DJ LeMahieu, same thing. Anthony Rizzo is coming back. I don't know if that's necessarily an upgrade. The Yankees have to figure out what they're going to do with the other 7 spots in the lineup. I hope Ben Rice continues to hit, but over his last few games hasn't been exactly the same Ben Rice as when he first came up. And at the end of the day, the Yankees can't rely on a guy that they brought up a few weeks ago to be the 3rd best hitter in their lineup. It just can't happen. For the Yankees to achieve that World Series level, they have to hit outside of those first 2 guys.
So, all right, you pretty much just said my question. My question is this a World Series caliber lineup? I have no idea. As of right now, I think the answer is no, but then you also got to factor in, like, hey, let's look at the top 3 in Major League Baseball in team OPS. Mm-hmm. The Dodgers are 1. They have bottom of the lineup questions. Mm-hmm. The Orioles are 2. They have no lineup questions. And then the Yankees are 3. They have bottom of the lineup questions. I understand, like, when we look player by player, this lineup is not, I don't think, good enough to win a World Series, but at the end of the day, they are 3rd in team OPS because they have 2 guys that are so good.
I think it's also slightly misleading, too, because you're talking about the Dodgers bottom of the half. Maybe you're talking about the Orioles bottom of the half. The Dodgers front 4 is near the caliber of the Yankees front 2. So they have 2 more slots in the lineup set up with all-star level talent, while the Yankees do not. The Orioles, it's the same thing. It is much deeper. Like, there are
Correct.
some questions, not nearly as many as the
And that's
Yankees.
why my questions about those teams are not related to the lineup.
And if we're talking about the playoffs, what if Judge doesn't have a good playoff series? The Yankees are done.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
correct.
the bottom line,
Correct.
too. It's so reliant on these two.
So let me adjust the question. Can the Yankees build a World Series caliber lineup
Definitely.
using deadline acquisitions?
Yeah, there are too many solid bats out there to fill out the bottom half because it's not like the Yankees need impact at the top.
I love that
right?
you just answered my burning question. I feel like these are all supposed to be rhetorical, and you're like, yes, yeah, no,
Yes,
they
can.
absolutely can.
But I think the answer to that question, I understand it's rhetorical, but the answer is yes. They do have the ability to do that. That's why I'm not counting them out of anything. That's why that's my burning question. What will they do to fill up the bottom half of this lineup? Ready to move to the Orioles?
Let's
you
do
go
it.
first this time.
Okay, for Baltimore, for me, it's what does the bullpen enforcement look like? That's my question about Baltimore, because Baltimore, like I think they are as flawless of an offense as we have in Major League Baseball, where they have top-end talent. They have one of the best hitters on the planet right now in Gunnar Henderson. They have the best catcher on the planet right now in Adley Rutschman. They have like a platoon that somehow works in Mountcastle and O'Hearn at first base. Like works might be putting it lightly. Like they are an
So good.
excellent
Yeah.
platoon. I have no questions about their lineup. Their rotation is beat up. C'est la vie, man. Like, if they make a move for a starting pitcher, that's great. I think they can slug their way past that. My question is the bullpen without Felix Bautista. I'm fired up for this bullpen when Bautista is back next year.
Oh, yeah.
But they're trying to win the World Series this year and next year and the year after. And the year after that. Like, it's the not 5, not 6, not 7 LeBron thing. And I think that they can be a legitimate World Series favorite if they add a Jason Foley or if they add a Tanner Scott, guys like that. So I want to know, hey, do you absolutely blow up the farm for Mason Miller, or do you go the cheaper version for a Tanner Scott or a Jason Foley? You know what I mean?
And it's so funny. I'm going to try and answer your burning question with my burning question because they are somewhat similar. My burning question for the Orioles is, do they actually go all in at the deadline? Right? You're talking about making additions to the bullpen. Yeah. Well, let's say they do go get Mason Miller. They could get Garrett Crochet as well. And if they are inclined to do so, make an enormous package for Luis Robert as well. Or potentially go get Cody Bellinger from the Cubs. Right? It doesn't have to be Luis Robert and Garrett Crochet, but we understand what I'm talking about here. We understand that this farm system is top of the line, and that's still with guys like Jordan Westberg and company graduating up to the current MLB roster. So they have the ability to trade from surpluses at so many positions, and we have yet to see them go truly all in. Like they go get Corbin Burns. Great. But that was their big addition, right, in the offseason. So I am wondering, is this the Orioles team that is saying we have 7 expendable guys? They're all great. No doubt about it. They're all fantastic prospects. Joey Ortiz was expendable, and he's a great piece for the Brewers, but now you have Corbin Burns. I hope that they understand that. Like, get the best possible players. The window is opening. You have your core. Go all in. That's my opinion of what they should do. My burning question is, will they? Or will they just get Mason Miller? Or maybe you just get Crochet and Tanner Scott. Yeah. Is that all in? Like, is that... I think if they go Crochet and Tanner Scott, I'll qualify that as all in.
For sure. I absolutely think so. But I'm not going to answer your question because they're burning questions. Like they're supposed to be left unanswered.
They're supposed to be left unanswered. Yeah. Should we move on to the Red Sox?
Absolutely.
You want me to go first again?
Yeah.
Okay. Are the Red Sox going to be buyers or sellers? Okay. I don't know. And I can make an argument for both. If I am the Boston Red Sox, if we're going on the selling side, we could say, well, we could get good pieces for Nick Pivetta. I think we could get good pieces for Tyler O'Neill. I think we could go down their roster and find a couple more guys potentially in the bullpen that can net them some good pieces, and you're seeing the young core develop and then go right back at it next year. Yeah. You could go buy. Jarren Duran just won the All-Star Game MVP. This offense has been really exciting. Yes. The starting rotation looks to continue to develop, and the bullpen has been solid. So you can look at this current roster, look at the scope of the American League and say, we can beat the Twins. Yeah. We can outlast the Astros. We can make a wild card this year, and all we need is a few more pieces. So I could hear either argument. That's why it's my burning question.
Yeah. Mine is very similar, and it was, what is their level of pursuit of the postseason?
Yes.
Like, are they hoping that they fall backwards into the postseason with the roster as currently constructed?
They could.
They absolutely could.
Yeah.
So my thing is, like, do you hold pat, do nothing, know that you have one of the better trios of prospects that we've seen in some time at the same level, maturing in the same way, coming next year in all likelihood, and Kyle Teal, Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, like, they have stuff coming in a huge way. And they just got Braden Montgomery, who could be up by the end of next year. They got him in the first round, 12th overall in Sunday's draft. So they are in a really good spot to contend very soon. I think they can sneak into the wild card this year. Do they have interest in pushing the chips forward on this year? Or are they saying, you know what, this is newfound success. Mm-hmm. We'll see how it plays out, and that's it. But we're really thinking about 25.
What do you think they should do?
I think they do nothing, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's fine too. Or maybe some like soft sells.
Sure.
Maybe a bullpen, maybe like a Chris Martin or something.
Yeah, go ahead. Why not?
Yeah, maybe if you feel like you don't need him and you can get a good prospect for him and just slate in somebody else, because the Red Sox do have a ton of good arms back there. Maybe it's soft.
I mean, you've done this, dude, without Casas. Like, you got to remember that, too. Like, I think...
And no Trevor Story.
And no Story. I think they're just...
And no Von Grissom.
I think they're playing with house money right now. And I think that they're going to approach it like, hey, you know what? We were probably not supposed to be here yet. It's fun that we're here now, but we're not going to mortgage the future for a shot at 24 when we're nowhere close to being the best team in baseball.
Like, would they potentially, I don't know which team would take him, but would they part with a Yoshida? Like, I wouldn't view that
They
as
would
selling.
try to part with a Yoshida. That's not selling.
Exactly.
But, like, I think at the price point they would try to part with him, but I think he can also be a contributor to a team that's really good in 25.
Definitely. And I think a front office could see that and be like, I mean, we love the swing.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to play any defense,
That's
but
fine.
we have an open DH spot anyway.
Yeah, let's
right?
do it.
We think he can be a very, very good 7-hitter for a contender's lineup, which I think he can. We'll move on to the Tampa Bay Rays. My burning question isn't really team-related, and it's somewhat selfish because I want to see this guy play so badly. Will Junior Caminero come up and contribute? Yes, he's been dealing with some injuries. His first game back, he hits a home run. This guy, in the complex, this guy is as good of a prospect offensively as we have right now in Major League Baseball. It's so exciting, right? We see Paul Skeens come up. We see Langford finally hit the ground running. When these guys get going, it's electric TV. And the Rays right now, not very electric. It's not a fun watch. We don't get to see Shane McClanahan busting 100-mile-an-hour sinkers and turning over changeups. We don't get to watch, like, we just now seeing Taj Bradley really look amazing. And Shane Boss, like, we're starting to see some of the electricity come back. But offensively, Randy's not doing that right now. Yandy Diaz is good. I wouldn't quantify him as electric. Qualify him. Whatever. Another mistake right there. Fuzzy brain. Junior Caminero would make this team must-watch TV. And yes, we could talk about, will the Rays sell? Will the Rays do this? Is Eflin gone? Is Pete Fairbanks gone? Is Jason Adam gone? Are they going to soft buy? What are they going to do? I want to see Junior Caminero play so badly.
Yeah. I like that one. I think that you're going to see him up very quickly if he is fully healthy. I don't see any reason to have him down there more than a week of full health in Durham, because he's checked every box that there is to check. My question about the Rays is, what does the 2025 rotation look like? And I think we get that answer in the second half of this year. Like, Littell, pleasure doing business with you in 2024. He's not going to be part of that in 25. Eflin, hey, man, like, how well are you going to throw to see what kind of return we can get from you as you escalate? I think Zach Eflin is as good as gone this offseason. So I want to see Springs come back. I want to see Boz really come into his own at the major league level. I want to see Taj Bradley continue to do his thing. I want to hear good reports about Drew Rasmussen's recovery from the internal brace. I want to hear good reports about Shane McClanahan's recovery from Tommy John. And I want to see Ryan Pepio continue to ascend and look like a guy that can be a future starter. Mm-hmm. I just named 6 starters that can all be threes. If you run out 6 threes, you can win a World Series.
And 2 or 3 of those guys that you named have ace upside.
Ace upside.
So you have 1, 2s, and 3s.
I think you have an
ace.
Spots. You have an ace in McClanahan. Got a shit ton of 2s there.
Shit ton.
In Rasmussen, in Boz, in Bradley.
Bradley looks so good right
I think Pepio can be a 3.
I think Pepio can be a 2.
So there you go, man. Like, you have a lot of guys to operate with, and you can cut the payroll of Eflin. Like, you can trim that escalating. I think it's 18.
I think he's good as gone. I mean, the Rays backloaded that last year for a reason.
Like,
that's what
they
they
did
do.
it with Glass now. They did
and
it
it's
with
okay
Glass
because
now.
they'll
They're doing it with
reload,
Eflin.
and who knows, right? They trade Luke Raley. They got Jose Caballero. It's not like they just got an 18-year-old in a complex and just stashed him somewhere.
No, they're going to move him for big league bats. Yeah, they're going to move him for a big league bat. So I just want to know what the 2025 opening day rotation is going to look like, and I feel like we're going to figure that out in the second half.
I think you're 100% right. Blue Jays.
Yes.
I wanted to try and find a better burning question for them, but this is the question about the Blue Jays that is burning a hole in my brain, so I'm sticking with it. Will the Blue Jays trade Bo Bichette or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. or Kevin Gausman? Now, I added in Vladdy in there, even though I think there's almost 0.0001% chance he gets traded. I think they should. But Bo Bichette, Kevin Gausman. So Mark Feinsand came out, and I want to make this clear too. When I get new information, I will tell you that even if it contradicts something that I said in the past. I said that I think Bo Bichette is going to be traded. I thought he looked checked out. I thought he was as good as gone. Mark Feinsand writes for MLB.com. Obviously does a fantastic job and is more keyed in with industry than I am. He said that the Blue Jays are not expected to trade anyone with control. So anyone who's not a free agent this offseason, the Blue Jays are very reluctant to trading, and it's unlikely that they do. Now, is that a smokescreen? Is that what they're saying now to drive up the price? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it is the truth. I want to find that out. What is the truth here? Do the Blue Jays think that Bo Bichette is an extension candidate, that this is just a bad first half, we wipe it, he's going to come out and be the same 4-win player, and he's a part of our future, right? If we're trading our best players, we don't want to trade Bo Bichette. I get that. Kevin Gausman, he's our ace. We still want to sell tickets. We still want fans coming to the stadium. We still think that we can hang around. I get it. Or get a ton of prospects. I still think that those two, even though they struggled this first half, would still command a boatload of prospects for a system that needs it. Ricky Tiedemann, I feel like, is their only legit pitching prospect. He gets hurt all the time. And we're seeing some of these guys come up and do okay. Like Ernie Clement has had some big hits lately. Addison Barger, Spencer Horwitz does look good. Like, we're seeing some of it, but I'd like some more. And I think Blue Jays fans want to see more of this youth revolution. I think they'd be okay parting with a Bichette or a Gausman. But are the Blue Jays okay parting with Bichette and Gausman? I don't know. Because Ross Atkins, he might be on his way out if the Blue Jays don't make the playoffs. So does he want to be the GM to do that? Right. I don't know. It's also a personal thing with him.
So that is along the lines of my question. To what level of explosiveness are the Blue Jays going to sell? Is it going to be a Snapdragon? You know those things where it's like you throw them against the sidewalk and you get that little popping sound?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be like Fat Man, Little Boy? Like, what level of explosion is it going to be at the deadline? Like, they're going to – I want them to blow it up.
I want them to too. I think it's the best decision for their future.
Yeah, and
they better kill those trades. These Bichette, Gausman, like they better
kill
get enough for them. They better not sell them for low.
I think that's frankly. I also think that's the only way that Ross Atkins even puts together a case to save his job. Yeah. Like if he's like, oh, we're just gonna try this again next year.
Yeah.
If he's like, oh no, we're gonna run this back. Okay, you were a last place team, man. Like,
yeah, what do you mean?
You're good. You're not taking us in the direction that we need to go. See you.
Yeah.
I think that's the right way to do it. But again, my burning question is, what level of blow up is it?
What is your gut telling you?
My gut is telling me that they're going to be really passive, and there are going to be a couple of people without a job next year.
Couldn't agree with you more. My gut tells me none of them go. Yeah. And we'll see if that works. I wouldn't do it. I would try Bichette and Gosman for the right deal, right? I'm not just dumping them. So, and maybe Ross Eskins does try and do that. And he's just like, nobody gave us enough for him. I'm sorry. I'm not going to trade our stars just to trade him. So we don't know, but we'll see what happens. And we'll see if it comes through on the ticker that Bo Bichette has been traded to, maybe the Atlanta Braves. We'll see. Let's go to the Cleveland Guardians.
Yes.
You want to go first? I've been going first a lot.
Sure. How does this rotation become World Series caliber?
Maybe we did talk to each other before we.
Maybe.
Because I'm looking at this rotation of Bobby's a dog.
Yeah.
Nothing there. Tanner Bobby's awesome. Carrasco. Ben Lively. I mean, Ben Lively's been fine.
Yeah, but I don't want him starting Game 3 of the ALCS.
Thank you. Gavin Williams, I do like.
Yeah, but he has looked very rusty since coming back from this.
And Spencer Howard, I don't know how much longer he lasts in the rotation
No,
at
and
all.
Tristan McKenzie was just the losing pitcher over the weekend in Indianapolis to Domingo Germán. And Logan Allen has not looked great.
I just don't know what they're going to do because they have the ability to go get starters, but it's also not in the Guardians' MO to trade for that big deadline acquisition.
So you know who jumps out to me, and I'm not just talking about Josh Naylor's wink on the pregame show. Garrett Crochet. I know it's interdivisional, but he's the perfect fit for them.
Oh, he's absolutely the perfect fit, but will they give up the prospects in order to acquire him?
Depends if they think that they can win the World Series this
Because
year.
the Orioles are going to be involved too, so that means if they're going to beat the Orioles off,
the
they might have to
Padres are going to be
overpay.
involved too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a really hard arm to get. I feel like the Guardians too, they don't need a Crochet. They need a Fetty. They need a guy who's just going to fill innings because this bullpen is so otherworldly amazing.
Let me push back on
It's almost
that,
the
though.
Brewers conversation.
Let me push back on that, though. Ben Lively, I just brought up to you. Do you want him starting Game 3 of the ALCS? And you said no.
No.
Eric Fetty. Do you want Eric Fetty starting Game 3 of the ALCS?
Here's the thing. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't. I think that the Guardians with that bullpen, because I think we have two teams in Major League Baseball who simply do not fit the classical way of looking at teams that are built on starting pitching. They got some offensive pieces and they have a good bullpen. This Guardians bullpen, all they need is 5 innings, 2 runs from their starter. Same as the Brewers, because the bullpen is, I think they have 4 or 5 guys with an ERA below 2, and all of them, you watch them, it's not some, shot in the dark reliever that nobody's ever heard of. These guys are fantastic. Like Cade Smith just came out of nowhere. It is disgusting. Tim Herron and Hunter Gaddis, they've been there, but they're so good. And Emmanuel Clase is the best closer in baseball. They are so, and Pedro Avila, like Nick Sandlin, we could keep going. They could fill innings forever.
Just started naming guys. It's
Exactly.
like, oh, shit, I remember this one,
No,
too.
seriously, I just remember all of these guys dominating all of the time. So if I'm the Guardians, all I need is 5 innings, 2 runs. That's why almost if they were to go get Aaron Savali back again, like he would make sense. Even an Eric Fetty could be their big-time guy, but lower-level pitchers just get 5 innings, 2 runs, and the Guardians are going to win a lot of games. I know it doesn't fit the classical mold of this guy's an ace. He gives us a better shot to win this game, but the Guardians and the Brewers, those two teams, don't operate like that.
So I disagree with you on that because I think you and I see Ben Lively and Eric Fetty as I think Ben Lively and Eric Fetty are very close together.
What I
think
will say
you
is-
view them as different. And I
Oh,
think
wow. I think Fetty is pretty legit.
Yeah,
at this
I think
point.
you
Like,
view
he
them
just
as
looks
different.
objectively good.
No,
Ben Lively, I'm a little nervous about.
So I'm a little nervous about Fetty at the end of the day. And like my thing is I don't think you have Eric Fetty at home, but I think you have Aaron Savali at home. I think you have like a bunch of those type of guys, the higher floor, low ceiling starters that are going to be available that you're talking about. I think you already have that in Carlos Carrasco. I think you already have that with like what you have right now.
I think you're putting Fetty in a boat that he doesn't deserve to be in. I don't think you can put Fetty in a boat with Carlos Carrasco. Fetty has been
I'm
objectively.
not putting him in a boat with Carrasco. I'm putting him in a
Fetty's an
boat.
all-star stud.
I'm putting him in a boat with Ben Lively.
I don't think that's fair either. Fetty was an all-star snub, and there's nothing in the underlying metrics. I understand that he hasn't, earned our unwavering support.
was in the
because we
KBO
haven't really
last
seen
year.
it. Exactly. But at the same time, this looks like something that he has figured out. He has been objectively very solid, and you look at the numbers, nothing really says, that he's going to get blown up. So I'm just saying a guy like Fetty would make me feel a lot safer about this rotation. Now, is that the only move they should make? No. But if they get Garrett Crochet, I don't think they have to make a ton of other moves. But if they get Fetty, then you get one more and just fill the rotation with 5 innings, 2 runs. You're going to win a lot of those games. The Guardians are going to score 4, and their bullpen is going to give up 1 over the rest of the 4 innings. Like, they're going to win a lot of those games. And I think that's the recipe here. And it's not a recipe that we're used to. But the Guardians and the Brewers, they're doing it, and it's working. And who knows? Maybe those teams that aren't spending a ton of money, they start kind of buying into this. Let's build the best bullpen possible, and let's build a great offense, and we'll piece it together with the rotation. Yeah. It's interesting. I have one about the Twins that I almost felt was kind of mean writing down, but it's my burning question. Can the Twins stay healthy? That's literally it. Because I'm looking at a lineup. Royce Lewis is unbelievable when he's on the field. Carlos Correa is unbelievable when he's on the field. Plantar fasciitis. His foot, not a good sign again. Yeah. Miranda, hurt again after he goes on this crazy hit streak. When the Twins are healthy, this team is fantastic. So that's it. That's my burning question. Can the Twins stay healthy? Can these guys stay on the field? Because I'm talking about the guys that are hurt now. I'm not talking about the guys who have had injury issues that are currently healthy right now. I hope Max Kepler stays healthy for a long time too. We were already talking about Correa. Like, when they're healthy, unfortunately, as much as it stinks, and I think Twins fans can relate, it's not that we're waiting for them to get injured, but it feels like that over after a long stretch of time. So that's how I feel about the Twins. Can they stay healthy?
So this is the one time that I'm going to use this card. I didn't have one for them. Like, I don't know how to ingest them because they're not healthy. Like, when they're all on the field, they're really good. When they're not all on the field, I see flaws.
Yeah, like, I think this Twins team, especially you're going to get Brock Stewart back to the bullpen, and that back end is so good.
Bullpen's great. Have no issues.
And I love their playoff rotation. Like, if they go Lopez, Ryan, Ober,
but like,
I like
is
that.
Is Pablo Lopez better than a mid-5s ERA? Like,
way better.
I guess that's my question, but I know
like,
the
way
answer.
better. Exactly. Right. And I guess, will they add? I don't think the Twins are going to add Garrett Crochet, but will they add another starting pitcher?
I don't.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Paddock,
I don't think they
was
will.
already there. I don't know. So, exactly. So, and then with the offense, I don't think they're going to add a big-time bat. So I'm not really worried about the deadline. I'm just, if the Twins stay healthy, they can overtake the Guardians in this division. That's how good their team is. But will they stay healthy? That's my burning question.
That's my thing. Their best possible deadline acquisitions are on the injured list.
Yep.
And, like, their best possible, like, October darlings will probably be on the injured list in the next 2 months. Like, it's just brutal to see what, what is dealt their way, what hand is dealt their way constantly. But at the end of the day, man, like, they could be in a position to get a wild card berth. I think that's really cool. But, like, everything they need to be successful to the level that the Minnesota Twins can be successful this year. I don't think that's a World Series win, but I think that could be, winning a playoff series for the first time in a while. Like, I know they won last year. They won a wild card series. I don't really consider it. Like, get to the ALCS. I think that is the Minnesota Twins ceiling. Everything that they need to get to the ALCS,
they have it,
is on the team.
Yeah.
So I have no question.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's move to the Royals, where I have 2.
Okay, there you go. So I pretty much gave you my Twins question. You allocated it to another team.
So one of it is, it's not a question, it's just confusion, and then I have a question.
Okay.
Confusion, we'll start with first. Is this team going to win on the road? It's so strange because the Mariners are dealing with the same thing where at home, they're incredible. Their offense is way up. They're like 31-18 at home. On the road, they're 7, 8, 9 games under 500. Offense goes way down. Everybody splits. You see Bobby Witt Jr. hitting 380 at home and 250 on the road. So, unfortunately, I can't analyze that. I have no idea. How does that happen? No idea. My question is, and something I think I can analyze a little bit better, Seth Lugo, Brady Singer, are they going to keep this up? That is my question for the Royals. Because what has been, I think, the surprise of the Royals so far, I'm not surprised that they've hit really well. I'm not surprised that Bobby Witt Jr. is a freaking man among boys. I'm not surprised that Salvador Perez is having a little bit of a renaissance. He's one of the best hitting catchers that we have in the past decade. So I'm not surprised by any of that. I am surprised that the former reliever turned starter is leading the American League in innings and ERA. I am surprised that Brady Singer stuff seems to be diminished. The underlying metrics are not good, and yet his ERA is under 3. Will those two continue to be horses for this rotation? Because if they're not, I really don't see the Royals in the playoff picture. If they keep shoving, the Royals have as good a chance as anybody to make this last wild card. That's what I think is going to be the difference here. And I'm not saying that I don't believe in either of them. I kind of do believe in Lugo at this point. Singer, I'm a little bit more worried about, but if he can pitch to a 3.7 for the rest of the year instead of a 2.9, I still love their chances. But who knows, right? Baseball's a weird sport. What if two guys that haven't exactly proven it don't have good second halves? It's possible. That's my burning question for them.
Yeah, so for me, it kind of follows those lines, but I actually go to the bullpen. How many more setup guys do you need? And I think the answer might be 3. 2 or 3, to be honest. Yeah. I don't have any confidence in that bullpen. They did a really good job with that Hunter Harvey deal.
Yeah.
They get Hunter Harvey from Washington for Caden Wallace in the comp pick.
Fleece?
4 ERA guy.
Fleece a little bit?
Yeah, wait, hold on.
No, fleece a little bit? I mean,
no,
we're talking about
it's
the
a pick,
39th overall pick and
it's a
the
39th
good
pick.
prospect?
Good prospect. He could be a bench
Top 5
piece.
in their system?
No.
No, you wouldn't say that?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think he's in the 6 to 10 range, and I think that comp pick slots in at about 7. So it's 2 top 10 prospects for a year and a half of Hunter Harvey. Okay, we were walking in Arlington. We were walking down the street in Arlington, and Peter referred to Hunter Harvey as
a 4 ERA guy. He's got a 4 ERA. What am I wrong? What am I wrong? And anybody watching, am I wrong? No, Jack just has an obsession with Hunter Harvey, and he got offended because I said he has a 4 ERA. When he has a 4 ERA, he's just sensitive.
Can you do me a favor and pull up his Fangraphs page?
I realized he had a 2.8 the other year. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I said we're getting all this for a guy with a 4 ERA right now. Now, is that good analysis? Is ERA the best stat? No. I made a joke. Now Jack's sensitive. That's what it's really about.
I am. I'm just kind of like an overly sensitive person. I get very bothered by minute things like
I know
that.
Hunter Harvey is good. I know what his stats were last year. I know he's good. I'm just saying it felt like a lot for a guy, but maybe the Royals really believe in him. Objectively, it makes them better, and that's the main point.
I think he's going to save games.
He probably could.
I think he's going to save games for a good team that's going to contend for a wild card berth in the American League.
I got to be honest. I wish they got Kyle Finnegan instead.
Yeah, but they can also go get Finnegan. They can also go get other setup guys. I think there's more meat on the bone, and I just want to know how aggressive they're going to be on that bone.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the Tigers.
Yes.
This is a new one. Would they ever trade Tarek Skubal? And the reason I bring it up, and that it is turned into a burning question, because I thought there was a 0.00001% chance they would do it. I had absolutely, Skubal's not getting traded. I said it on the show. Past couple of days, Dodgers come out aggressively sending prospect packages for Skubal. Orioles comes out that they are aggressively calling the Tigers about Tarek Skubal. So if I'm knowing that teams with really good systems who are desperate for starting pitching are both arguing over Skubal, could the Tigers get to a point where this offer is just too good? Where this team is making a bad decision in trading this many prospects for Skubal, we'd be a fool not to take this trade. I agree with you. I don't think it's going to happen, but is it not a burning question?
It's a burning question. If Tarek Skubal gets traded at the deadline, you punch me in the face.
No, can we not do that?
Dude.
There has to be you and Arm do this. There's okay,
Stetson
sure.
Bennett's not
Sure.
throwing a touchdown in the NFL.
No, you said pass and you know it.
Really?
You said pass and you know
Did
it.
I say pass?
Yeah.
He's not throwing a touchdown pass in the NFL.
I understand. We're not going to do the punch in the face bet because I think there's a higher chance than 0.01. If I'm being
I
honest.
think that there's a 2% chance that Tarek Skubal gets traded.
But that's the thing. I mean, that's like even making it 2%. I think is wild.
Yeah.
Because the fact that the Tigers could potentially do it, it's more about the teams calling.
Yeah.
And who knows if Preller sees that
No
Skubal
way.
is being called on, he might trade everybody on the sun. Like I don't know how aggressive these GMs are going to be for elite starting pitching. If I'm the Tigers, I do not want to trade him at all. I would have to get blown out of the water. But my burning question is, are they going to get blown out of the water?
I don't think so. I think it needs to be a package like you haven't seen for a pitcher.
It might. I mean,
If it is-
he is unbelievable.
If it is, then we'll chat and all
Yeah.
that shit. Like,
yeah,
I'm
I
fine
wonder
with that.
because the Orioles, they could make an insane package and be perfectly fine. That's the thing. Do you want to get over the top? Do you want to trade a Kerstad and a Stowers and it might. And yeah, the Orioles, like, you're going to lose some good bats, but you're going to get Tarek Skubal, Corbin Burns, and Grayson Rodriguez in your playoff rotation with the lineup you already have, with like 6 All-Stars in that lineup. And then you go add one more bullpen arm, you go add Tanner Scott. I mean, who's beating the Orioles then? So this is why you get prospects, right? You either see them blossom or you trade them for elite young talent. That's what Skubal is. He might be the most prized pitching possession in Major League Baseball, or at least in the top 5. Right. So, yeah, it's going to cost a lot, but you add Tarek Skubal, you're a World Series favorite. Yeah. But anything can happen, of course. Yeah. White Sox, quick.
Well, I didn't do my Tigers question.
My bad. Go ahead.
My Tigers question, real quick. What does selling look like? Like, is it just Flaherty? Is it Flaherty and, like any bats that you feel like Mark Canha? Or do you move Jason Foley? I wouldn't want to, but like I have no idea what they're going to see. I think if they're going to move people, they need proximity prospects. They need high minors prospects, like AAA guys.
Yeah.
Like, I want AAA guys. I want guys that are going to help me next year.
I agree, because I think the Tigers' window isn't quite open yet. But if they add a couple of AAA guys,
damn close.
They might bust it open next year. White Sox quick. What are they going to get for Robert and Crochet?
So, all right, building on that, my question is, how do they handle the Luis Robert thing?
Yeah.
Crochet is as good as gone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Robert gets moved this deadline.
I'm not either, because I don't know which team is going to send a package that the White Sox feel is good enough to sell to the fans that we just traded Luis Robert.
Yeah, and also, like, you got to factor in what Lou Bob's hitting, low 200s right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's not Luis Robert because he's been hurt and he was kind of slow out of the gates. I know he's hitting for power, but, like, he's not doing the other things that make him that, guy that can flirt with 7 wins if he's on the field for 162. He's one of the best players in baseball.
He's an elite defender who can go 40-20.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
like, it's so hard.
He's one of the best players in baseball.
Most talented.
Most
Absolutely.
talented. He's one of the most talented players in baseball.
100%.
I think they want to see that talent take him into a trade.
Yeah.
And I think they feel good about that talent taking him into a trade in August and September, and then they move him in November, December.
If you're a White Sox fan, are you rooting for him to have an incredible next 3 weeks so he can get traded?
Absolutely.
Interesting. All right, should we move on to the American League West? All right, we'll start with the Mariners. My question for them is not what are they going to do with the deadline, it's how many bats are they going to get at the deadline, because that's what the Mariners need. They get back Gregory Santos in that bullpen. I think if they make any bullpen moves, it's on the margins, right? I don't see them adding. You got your closer in Andres Munoz. I don't see them adding anybody big. I don't see them adding anybody in the rotation. I don't think I have to analyze that. How many bats are they going to get? Are they going to get Pete Alonso and think that the offense is fixed? Are they going to get Pete Alonso in another one? Are they going to get Pete Alonso in 2 more? They can. How many bats, and what are the bats they get at the deadline? I think is kind of the only burning question for the Mariners and Mariners fans at this point.
Yeah. So my question is, you good, Julio?
He's been awesome lately, but it's not against great competition.
It's been awesome for a week and a half.
It's funny, we were talking to the Marine Layer pod guys, and that's what they brought up. It's like, yeah, he's been doing great lately, but the competition isn't great, that we need to see more.
You good, Julio? You're one of the best players in baseball. We know that. You're a guy that just signed a deal that can escalate to about $300 million.
Yep.
You are a franchise cornerstone.
Yeah.
Hit like it.
Yeah.
I love watching you play.
Yeah.
I love when you are going right. I feel like Taylor Twellman with Team USA that ran. He's that good. When all these people ID Pulisic, it's okay, yeah, you're not the run to the litter here, but you're the guy that we hold to the highest standard.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the rest of this Mariners lineup. Cal Raleigh is performing to Cal Raleigh standards right now. I think Cal Raleigh is a good catcher. I think he's a good power hitting catcher, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody else is kind of stinky right now, but we knew that everybody else was going to kind of be stinky. There are guys that are underperforming. I think Ty France might just not be that great anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's underperforming versus almost unplayable.
Right. And
Jorge Blanco can't hit.
No, he can't hit. And the thing is, I'm not going to sit here and
Crawford
say
is not doing well.
No, I know. And it's I'm not going to sit here and say, you good, JP Crawford? That's probably the other guy that I could say because he is a $50 million player. But I'm not going to sit here and say, you good, Jorge Polanco? It's on you to turn the season around.
Yeah.
No. It's on the guy that I hold in the highest regard. It's on Christian Pulisic to guide Team USA. That's the Taylor Twellman thing. It's on Julio Rodriguez if the Seattle Mariners want to be good and want to secure the American League West. Pete Alonso is great. Luis Roberts, great. Whoever they go and get at the deadline, that's an awesome addition. But at the end of the day, they already have the straw that stirs the drink. And it's one of the best players on the planet. And he's got to start hitting like one of the best players on the planet.
Couldn't agree with you more. Let's move on to the Houston Astros. I don't really have a ton of questions. I wouldn't even say I have a burning question, but for the sake of the exercise, I did bring one. I'm just curious how they're going to manage this rotation. Because right now, the back two is Spencer Arrighetti and Jake Bloss. Framber, Hunter Brown, Ronel Blanco. Good starters, obviously. They're going to get Justin Verlander back at some point. What do they do at the deadline? Are they going after the Garrett Crochet? Are they going after the Eric Fetty? Or are they going a tier below that? I don't know. Those are my questions for the Houston Astros right now. Because this rotation, Framber just doesn't look like the same Framber. I know he has a 3.66 ERA, but I think if you watch him, it's not the same turbo sinker, automatic ground ball with the unbelievable curveball that we're used to from Framber. The hard hit rate is absurd. He's had some really bad blowups. He doesn't look quite like himself. And then if we're looking at the injuries to this rotation, right, it sucks to lose Christian Javier. Jose Urquidy going down, right? He's not an elite arm, but he at least can fill innings. Luis Garcia is trending in the right direction, but he's still recovering. So when I look at this rotation, I like it. And I think it has some upside. I think Framber could get better. Hunter Brown has looked a lot better lately. But I am a little bit worried about Ronel Blanco because if we're talking about pitchers that haven't proven it over a long stretch of time, that's Ronel Blanco. So it almost starts to go into the confusion area more than a question. Just what the hell's going to happen here?
Luis Garcia got blasted in AA. When he started there. He had a nice little ramp up in the lower levels and then got to AA Corpus Christi and got killed. And apparently,
that's one bad start.
They're reportedly pulling back a bit on his rehab process after, according to Joe Espada, he didn't rebound well from his most recent start in the minor leagues. So he didn't throw well, and then he didn't feel right on the heels of that. That would be a huge get, I think, back off the shelf. I don't know what's up with McCullers anymore. I just don't. I don't know if he's going to pitch.
I didn't include him. I have no idea.
I don't know. I haven't
just
seen
don't
anything.
think that he. When I think about the Astros, if he comes back, it's cherry on top of the sundae. But your sundae doesn't need a cherry. Ice cream's still really good.
Right.
So that's what I'm waiting on.
Yeah. So I do think that they're going to make a move for a starting pitcher like Fetty. I think Fetty makes all the sense in the world.
Fetty makes all the sense in the world for 17.
He's
That's
Brad
a problem.
Boxberger.
So
but
if you don't get Eric Fetty, who's the guy that makes sense for them?
I think you can still go big game hunting with Flaherty, and I think Flaherty is semi game hunting. But I don't think that their farm system can get them a Garrett Crochet or can get them Derek Scooball. Like, I don't know what that looks like. And, there might be some runs to the litter. Like, hey,
Who knows? Maybe they get Gausman. Maybe the Blue Jays do end up
well,
trading
and
Gausman.
maybe they get an Austin Gomber. Like, you know what I mean?
Quantrill, actually.
Yeah, no.
Quantrill would be a great piece for them.
Yeah, why would Gomber not be a good piece? You don't believe it? Why do you not believe believe him but believe Quantrill?
I want to say this in the most respectful way possible. When I watch him, I don't see a guy I'm confident in a playoff series.
Okay.
And I haven't looked at the numbers, but when I watch him, I don't think that's a guy I want on the mound in a big spot.
For me personally, I'm asking for one guy that is going to be pinched out of the postseason rotation, because the postseason rotation,
Like, I'd rather have Arrighetti in my rotation than Gomber. I would. He's more upside.
I disagree.
Because he has the same amount of blowups as Gomber, but I think when he's really on, he looks much better.
Yeah, agree to disagree there, but I see where you're coming from. My thought is you can go get a guy that is going to be pinched out of your postseason rotation. If their postseason rotation is Fromber, Verlander, Renel Blanco, Hunter Brown, I feel good about that.
I feel good about that, too. I don't feel great, though.
I just need a guy. I need a guy to get us through the regular season, and
Yeah.
I think that Gomber can help with that. But I think Fetty is the perfect answer for them.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on to the Rangers. This one, it's kind of lame, or it's not lame. It's just on the same subject that we've kind of been talking about, and I want to be unique, but damn it, this is my burning question for the Rangers. Are they buyers or are they sellers? I don't know. And it's the same question as the Red Sox. I could make an argument for either side. We'll go first with selling. Well, hasn't been going off to a good start. If you don't think that DeGrom and Malley are going to make a big difference, or they're not going to come back soon enough, you see the rest of the picture. You see your 4 games under 500. You see how many teams are above you, and you say, well, we could part with some pieces, not a full sell, and recoup some assets in the farm system. Or we just won the World Series, damn it. This team went on a 40-20 stretch last year. We still got it. And that's a direct quote from GM Chris Young. Ask Matt Scherzer. He was asked on Foul Territory, are you waiving your no-trade clause if you were to get traded again? He said, I don't understand why we'd even talk about that right now. This team has it. I'm not worried about that. We're going to go on a run here. I want to stay here and win. That's the attitude of the players. And Chris Young has not come out and said, we are selling or we are buying. I think he's still maybe a little bit undecided, or at least publicly they're undecided. That's my burning question for them. Because I agree. I still see the upside in this team. You see it in Wyatt Langford on his own. I cannot believe that Semien is not a good hitter this year. I think he's going to have a better second half. I have too much. Yeah, for defense, I guess. But, I mean, objectively, he's been a below-average hitter this year by WRC+. So, and Josh Young is going to come back, but then we've gone over this so many times, but I still, to summarize it, I still believe in this Rangers team, and I personally think that they should be on the buying side.
Yeah.
But I can understand if they go the selling route, depending on the next 3 weeks.
So I've got I want to say boring but fun, but that doesn't make any sense. I've got a kind of boring question when it comes to the Texas Rangers as a macro. My question is, what are Wyatt Langford's numbers going to look like at the end of the year?
Yeah. That's
Like, it's not a Ranger question. I'm just like, I'm genuinely
I did
curious.
that for the Rays with Junior Caminero. I was like, I just want, that's my burning question. That's
Right.
what I want to see
Like,
right now.
frankly, like, I don't really care about the direction of the Texas Rangers. They won a World Series title last year. I think they're a good team.
Yeah.
I think they're going to add in free
At
agency.
the eBay event, we met a Rangers fan who was awesome, and he was saying that I would trade 10 losing seasons of the Rangers in order to win that World Series, and I think every fan would. That's
Absolutely.
I mean, you win a World Series, you win a World Series.
You win a World Series, you win a World Series. I don't think that every year you need to enter crisis mode. I think that they're fine, and I think that they have a damn good team moving forward. I think that they are older on the pitching side, but I think that they're not afraid to spend in free agency, and that's a really important thing. My question is, are we going to see Wyatt Langford truly blossom into a star? Are we going to see a second half that cements him as the American League Rookie of the Year in a pretty crap class right now? There are 2 guys that I really ID that I think are going to finish 1 and 2 in AL Rookie of the Year voting, and I think it's Langford. I think it's Rafaela. I think those guys are going to be that good in the second half.
That'd be awesome. because that makes baseball better. Let's move on to the Angels. Yeah. My burning question, it seems like this is the obvious thing that they should do, but my burning question is, will they actually do it? Are you going to clean house or not? Yeah. Are you going to trade all these like pieces that are obviously not a part of your future, or are you just going to pretend Artie Moreno, Perry Minasian, that you're in it? I mean, how many more times do we have to do this? How many more times do we have to sit here and pretend that the Angels are going to do anything this year? And I know that sucks to hear if you're an Angels fan, but we all know it. So what are we doing? Why don't we have an attack plan? Why don't we rebuild? Because at least Angels fans are smart. They understand that if we get good prospects and if we restart this, that we can be good later, like any team. But you just refuse to do that. I don't know if it's pride. I don't know if your numbers are that off. But I think it's obvious. Clean house. Yeah. I mean, let's get all the excess out of here. Because you see pieces starting to form. Neto's a good piece. Ohapi's a good piece. You have pieces here. Or at least some semblance of a core. Build around it. Instead of just putting out the same Anthony Rendon-led lineups that are just... And I know you can't trade him to anybody, but at least do something.
Can I be mean?
Sure. Of course you can.
When are we going to be done with the Ron Washington thing? That's my question.
He's the problem?
I think he's absolutely part of the problem. He threw Nolan Shonowell under the bus for sleeping in late. He shit on Louis Guillaume for not getting a bunt down. Like, he's not good at this anymore.
I guess in like the modern Major League Baseball, it would be like Boone who just bootlicks everybody.
But like I could be wrong about, like, he could have great clubhouse rapport, but it feels like he's just working with a fractured clubhouse. Like, it seems like he honestly doesn't really care about the clubhouse, and like
it's so hard to know.
It's so hard to know, but like everything that I have ingested Ron Washington this year, I'm just like, dude, like, if you don't want to do this, then don't do it. I don't know why you were seeking this managerial job when you had a good setup in Atlanta. Like, just don't do this if you're going to shit on all your guys all the time. Like, try not to do that.
Yeah, like the Ollie Marmol show last year.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, if you don't want to be a manager, then don't be a manager. That's fine. Like, there are a lot of people that would rather be an assistant than a head coach because they don't want to deal with the other shit. Like, I don't know. Every time I see something from him, I'm just like, do you want to do this? It doesn't seem like you want to do this. I hope Trout comes back healthy. I hope they get their head out of their ass and get Reed Detmers out of Salt Lake. They are actually like more aggravating than the White Sox are to me, because
they're the most aggravating team in baseball.
Because it's
they
like,
have been for years.
It seems like they're not doing anything to like help their case.
Exactly.
The White Sox at least are like going and drafting well. Like,
it makes sense.
I'm excited to see Christian Moore. I don't know how Christian Moore is going to do in the big leagues. I bet he plays 10 games in the minor leagues. But, like, we know this now. It's just so chalky. I'm tired of them.
I'm
tired of them, and I think Ron Washington's part of the problem. But, I mean, obviously it starts with ownership.
And it kind of goes back to my original question, will they clean house? That's not just players.
No, like,
that's front office. That's manager.
I'm just getting kind of tired of, like, the whole...
I'm so tired of the Angels. There's no direction, and I can't buy into a team with no direction, and the Angels are the team with no direction. A's is the same as the White Sox. What are they going to get for Mason Miller and Brent Rooker? Because Brent Rooker, all-star snub, 942 OPS, 21 homers, been jacking baseballs all year, and Mason Miller is as electric and as good of a closer as we have in the game. You're going to get a lot for those guys. What is it going to be? What does it look like? Is it 18-year-old complex guys? Is it AAA guys? I don't know. Is it a package that blows us all away? Is it a package that underwhelms us? What's going to happen? I don't know.
Yeah, like how do they handle the Mason Miller thing? Like, frankly, I think it's getting less and less likely that they trade him.
Yeah, because it's not like they need to.
No, he's got 5.5 years of control.
It's just you could get an unbelievable package for him right now.
Yeah.
But also, is any team going to give them an unbelievable package for a closer?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So I totally understand if the A's don't trade Mason Miller, and I don't think that would be a bad decision. If you don't get blown away, don't trade a cornerstone player that's going to sell tons of tickets. Like, at the end of the day, this is also a business, and you don't want to trade away any semblance of talent so nobody comes to the games. They already don't get anybody coming to the games. If you trade Mason Miller and Brent Rooker, it might be better for your future, and I think it is better for your future, but it destroys this year. It just tells the fans, yeah, don't pay attention. No need to. So it's an interesting conundrum that they're in. And I assume A's fans are too, because I think A's fans recognize, it's the best idea for the future. But if I'm an A's fan, do I trust John Fisher? Do I trust this front office? That's why it's got to be a nightmare right now to be in their position. And I feel for them. Their team is leaving. If you're still an A's fan and you still support this team, you deserve
a Nobel Peace Prize.
You deserve awards.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel for you because they don't deserve it. They just don't deserve this.
Yeah.
No fans deserve anything, but we understand what I'm saying. That'll do it. Again, part 2 tomorrow. Aram and I, one burning question for every American League team. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It is the best way to support this show. I'm proud of myself. I think I only had 2 mistakes.
Nice.
Foggy brain, 2 mistakes. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Probably more. Let me know more of the mistakes I made on this episode in the episode description. Also, go get your Just Baseball merch. While you're down there in the episode description, go check that out. Game Time, Code Just Baseball, BetMGM, Code Just Baseball. For Jack McMullen, I am Peter Apple. We'll be back tomorrow. And with that, thank you, everybody.